Hi guys, welcome to my podcast. My name is Avvz Kaur. I am a stand-up comedian.
You're the first comedian I've ever had in the podcast. So what was the journey getting into comedy?
I was sarcastic as fuck at school. So I always knew there was something there. And then just per chance, I then became friends with people who were comedians too. And they always told me, you've got something in you.
Obviously, dark humour is like quite controversial in itself. There's a line, sometimes people don't appreciate being cross. What's your intake on that?
I want to get cancelled.
Just straight up, just want to get cancelled.
I really want to get cancelled.
Oh, cool. Really and truly, there are people who aren't brave enough to take like certain steps in life generally, like to take like bold moves, and you're doing something I would say is quite bold and brave. Gas bag. Where does that like confidence come from?
So a combination answer. One, I think I have suppressed parts of that confidence and everything when I was younger, because you kind of are grown up with like everyone at school and you're kind of competing for like, oh, who's going to get the top marks? And I was like, I don't really care for grades, so that's not me. Because I think it's sometimes you just have to ask yourself, what are your doubts? Like, why do you feel it's not going to work? And I think for me, particularly where a lot of my anxiety came from, was constantly thinking the worst and like, oh, well, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And I've had to unlearn that habit of stop thinking the negatives, just do it and then worry about the consequences afterwards.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Unfiltered Podcast, where we take the I out of unfiltered and put the emphasis directly on you. This is the one platform where we get to take down our filters and have raw, authentic and vulnerable conversations in regards to the challenges that we're all facing today. Now, if you're a fan of the unfiltered nature of this podcast and you want more of these conversations that I have on the show to be normalized, why don't you help me help you? To get more guests on and to have those difficult conversations in regards to the challenges we're all facing, I have to know what it is that you specifically want us to speak about. So if it isn't too much to ask, why don't you hit that subscribe button right now? And at the end of the episode, if it's been a hit for you, why don't you leave a thumbs up and leave a cheeky review in regards to what specifically resonates with you. Now, with that all being said and done, let's get straight back into the episode.
Oh no.
It's too late to back out now.
Hello. Hi guys, welcome to my podcast. Avvz and guests.
Avvz and guests.
Avvz and friends.
Avvz and friends. Who am I speaking to right now? The comedian or corporate girl that was downstairs?
Is me. Hello.
Who's me?
This is Avvz.
Avvz who?
Avvz Kaur.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's great.
You ready?
No.
Why are you so nervous for?
It's just a lot.
Why is it a lot?
Let's press play. Go.
It is. It's been recording.
No.
This is included.
Press play.
Play.
Let's start.
Let's start.
Action. Look, it works on this one. And action.
There we go.
I'm so proud of myself.
I don't know how this is going to go, everyone. How's it going, Avvz?
It's great.
So, quick little introduction in regards to who you are, what you're doing.
My name is Avvz Kaur. I am a stand-up comedian.
And
a bunch of other stuff.
You're the first comedian I've ever had in the podcast. So,
probably first and last. Let's see how this goes.
Don't say that. We've got like good things lined up for today. Let's talk about how you first got into comedy. Let's get a little bit of backstory in regards to you. What was the journey getting into comedy?
I was thinking about this the other day of like what my journey is. So I actually started reading my yearbook because I was bored, and in there, and I think a lot of comedians, their bio whatever is they were the class clown or they were just funny or something, and that's what mine was. So I think I always knew I was sarcastic as fuck at school, and I think I still am. So I always knew there was something there. And then just per chance, I then became friends with people who were comedians too. And they always told me, you've got something in you. Why don't you try it? And I have stage fright. So I was like, no, I'm not doing this. No way. And then a couple months later, I had an opportunity come up and they were like, look, come, you can perform at this gig. It's a sold out show. Do it. And I was like, what do I have to lose? So in preparing for that, you kind of learn the art of comedy. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was fun. I think I always thought I was meant to be on stage as a singer or something. And then comedy came and I was like, oh, maybe that's what I'm meant to do.
Be real with me. Was your first stand-up show like really good or was it a flop?
It went well. I joke around with this in the sense of having like memory problems or like dementia and stuff.
Okay.
Because there were certain punchlines that I did forget, but luckily I had it in my pocket, like the notes and stuff. But I had the notes in the wrong pocket, so I was holding the mic and I was like, oh my god, how do I get the notes? But I managed to wing it and it worked.
Yeah.
Prior to going on stage though, I had a full-on like anxiety attack and I was like, I can't do this. I was crying. I was like, I don't have enough makeup to like fix this. So it was all going wrong because the lineup changed. So I thought I had more time to prepare, get mentally into the whole zone and everything.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
Yeah.
They were like, you're second, you're going. And I was like, I'm not ready. So I was like outside. People were like, oh, you're just being a little bitch. And I was like, yeah, fair. But, you know, I'm still like not ready yet. Like, it was scary.
No, well, isn't that testament to you then? Like, you managed to power through.
I said to myself, I've got this one shot. It's now or never. If I don't do it now, I need to just get over myself and do it.
But when you look back in that in reflection,
yeah,
like you've done that now. You've done the first show.
Yeah,
you got pushed.
Straight after that show, I think about 10 minutes after, I was like, right, when's my next one?
Sick.
So it just completely changed.
Fair. Interesting. What was the exact moment you thought, yeah, I'm actually like funny, like proper funny?
Before I did that gig, I think it's a bit of a heads up when an official comedian says you've got what it takes.
Ooh.
I'm not going to name drop anyone, but that always kind of gave me the reassurance that I was like, okay, maybe there is something in this. When they said, yeah, there's something in you, play around with it.
Fair. And what's the worst joke you've ever told on stage?
Some like...
Go on. Go on, it's unfiltered.
Some ones that get me cancelled.
Go on.
I can't do it just like this, but like, so my favourite one
Fine.
that I say all the time, and some people don't like it, but I do, so maybe we'll just cut this out. But you know the saying of you don't have to speak to your best friend every single day, because when you see them in person, it's like there's never any time apart.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's the time limit on that? Because it's been 17 years and I've still not seen Madeline. That's my favourite one.
Oh, God.
It's not really a joke, but it makes me laugh because I like watching everyone's reactions, and then you can see who the dark humour people are.
Are you...
That's my favourite one.
Do you know what's funny?
I think also because the people look at me and they don't think I can do dark humour.
That's what I was just like. I feel like my friends, and a lot of them love dark humour. They would find that, I'd find that very, very funny. Do you find it like it's a bit, obviously dark humour is like quite controversial in itself. Like,
yeah,
there's a line sometimes people don't appreciate being crossed.
Yeah.
What's your intake on that?
I want to get cancelled.
Just straight up, just want to get cancelled.
I really want to get cancelled.
Oh, God.
Because I say that now because I'm still early in my career for it to not matter.
Yeah.
If, touch wood, in a few years that were to change, I don't know. But like, look at Ricky Gervais. He's not scared to test the water, and it works for him. So doing that as a brown woman, I don't know how the audience would take that.
Going into that, being a brown woman, I don't know of any brown comedians. I know I've seen like brown influencers who like have, I'd say, like jokes, like Lily Singh, but I don't know if I classify her as a comedian. I see her as a YouTuber. She's funny at what she does. Some of her content I remember I used to watch back in the day, but I've never heard of like a brown comedian woman. No, Paul Chowdhury and Russell Peters.
Russell Peters.
Yeah. Good old Russell. Hey,
There's a couple upcoming ones.
Yeah.
I think they are... There's a couple people. I don't want to jinx it. I believe in the evil eye, so I don't want to jinx it for them. But I feel like they're
onto something.
They're very close to being big people.
How does it feel for you though? Obviously, you know, within like the brown cultural space, there's a lot of opinions.
Oh yeah, loads.
People like get onto your case for not following status quo, and you're out here as a comedian on the side.
I've not really faced stuff like that, actually. I think people, if anything, are more excited and ask loads of questions as to why I got into comedy.
A bit like me.
And yeah, they're like, it just doesn't make sense. But they're not so much saying, oh, you shouldn't do that. I've not had anyone say you shouldn't do that. I think some people are like, oh, you're not really that funny. And I'm like, okay, you go on stage and then tell me it's as easy as it looks. But yeah, no one, particularly as being a brown person, that's never kind of come up.
Fair.
If anything, that's why I put core in my stage name, because I want to represent that community, but also I'm not doing it just for us. Selfishly, I want to do it for myself too.
Fair.
I think being brown is just a plus.
Fair play. Fair play. Fair play. Do you feel like you can get away with some kind of jokes because you're brown? Do you reckon you could tailor some jokes?
Yeah, I think so. Like some, obviously a lot of the brown jokes you can do. I think some of them, and I haven't got any material on this, but I know some other brown comedians who are testing the waters of kind of sinking it into the black community too.
Yeah.
And kind of playing on us versus the non-seasoned people. So that's kind of interesting. I think we can all kind of play on that heritage part that I guess we all have in common.
Do you know what's funny? Because when I see like stuff like Matt Rife, when I see some of his like sketches on YouTube, it's not racial, but sometimes they play on the lines of it.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, right? Because it's like, it's said in a comic fashion. It's meant to be there for like just purely shits and gigs.
Yeah.
I can appreciate though like that it does possibly trigger a lot of people when certain people say certain jokes.
Oh yeah. I think as a audience member, actually no, as an audience member and also as a comedian, if I see someone respectively of unseasoned colour and they're making certain jokes, that does trigger a lot of people because we're like, you kind of have no leg to stand on. If it's the other way around, it seems to be more acceptable. I don't know why that is. Maybe that's just a personal thing, but it does seem to resonate with a couple other people who are like, you're not really, like, you can't say that. No.
And you still say it?
I can, but I'm saying other people, white people, can't make certain brown jokes. I think there's such a thin line between what's funny and then what's racist.
Fair.
And yes, you as comedians, you can say anything you want.
Yeah.
I do feel like sometimes, maybe it's the way that they articulate it, actually. I'm going to take all that back. It's the way that they articulate it. If they can do it in a way where it is just funny and there's no kind of stabbingness, then cool, do what you want. But also, every comedian is going to say what they like. I think in a way, maybe no one will admit to it, but I do think everyone kind of wants to get cancelled. Like they want to push the line as far as they can.
Do you feel like there's like any real truths behind what comedians say, or is it purely just said for shits and gigs? Like
the material.
Yeah.
There is a lot. Everyone writes their material differently.
Yeah.
A majority, I want to say like 60, 70% of material is based on true stuff.
Yeah.
Others, whether it's on themselves or someone else's story that they're portraying as their own. But yeah, most of it is all real, as far as I know, from all the comedians that I've spoken to. Some of the stuff that I write about, though, is all just like hypothetical. Like I'm not actually friends with Madeline, right? So it's not real. But like some of them are there.
Oh God!
It's like also like some of my, I know we're talking comedy stuff, but like my TikTok videos, my mom has a Scottish accent. Like
your mom has a Scottish accent?
Yeah, like
from Scotland.
She's from Scotland.
Oh, swear.
So it's like the TikTok auntie stuff that so many people are like, oh, your mom's like this, like the other. I'm like, yeah, she's the complete opposite. So not everything is real.
Fair.
Be it comedian, like the comedian material stuff on stage versus online.
I've always been like quite interested about that because I'm like, is there any like real feelings behind what some comedians say, or is it just said purely because it's a script and we're just trying to just tell a story just to make people laugh? Because some people drop like some interesting gems.
Yeah.
And like, again, when it's coming across towards that line now, we're crossing that line. It's, do you really mean that? Do you really feel that way about us? Or is it more of a...
It's such a personal thing when people write their material. Some people, like for me, it's something that I'm passionate about. Like if I resonate with that topic and I find it really funny or I want to be super controversial, I'll write about it. But it's so unique to every comedian. Everyone's got their own styles.
And I know we spoke about it like prior, like your parents have been quite supportive in regards to you going down this route, right?
Yeah.
They're a big fan in regards to...
Yeah. Yeah. I joke about it. I said this to my cousin the other day and I was like, I don't know if they just don't care anymore or if they're just that supportive because they don't like nag or like there's no why are you doing this. They're like, yeah, just go and do it. Tell us what gigs you want us at or don't want us at. We're there.
Fair. What's it like for you being on stage, microphone in hand, just saying whatever it is that you've got either planned or like I can appreciate there's a level of confidence that's required to do that. And I don't know what it is that you took prior to jumping on here, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what's in that either.
I don't take anything. I don't do drugs. Alcohol is bad.
Oh, God. No, but like, respect to that. Like, I'm doing a talking event soon. And like, people have asked me, like, you're not going to be scared going up on stage speaking to these people? And I'm like, well, if it's anything like me in a podcast.
Imagine them all naked. Do that.
No, but like, really and truly, there are people who aren't brave enough to take like certain steps in life generally, like to take like bold moves, and you're doing something I would say is quite bold and brave.
Thanks.
Gas bag. Where does that like confidence come from? I know you've got support.
Yes.
But where does it come from within you to just stand there and just say, here we go?
So a combination answer. One, I think I have suppressed parts of that confidence and everything when I was younger, because you kind of are grown up with like everyone at school and you're kind of competing for like, oh, who's going to get the top marks? And I was like, I don't really care for grades, so that's not me. So I think I'm always trying to figure out what is my niche. And I think that's where going back the sarcasm, like that's one thing I knew that no one else could do, which is probably not something to brag about. But I think a combination of wanting, like I'm very competitive, so I always knew I wanted to do something that no one else could. But now I'm just waffling. Let's do a take two. Ask me a question again.
No, carry on.
No,
Start
don't
worry.
Start again.
Hey, listen.
Start again. I forgot dementia. What did you say? Where am I? Start again.
I'm talking about your confidence.
Yeah.
How you've been able to build confidence to do what you're doing. So like I say, the audience that listen to this right now are probably in situations generally in life where they don't have the confidence to take certain steps, whether it's walk away from a marriage, walk away from a relationship, to tell their parents no.
Yeah.
Whether they've gone through like traumatic stuff to like even like personal stuff at work. There's a lack in confidence there. You're a very different kettle of fish in regards to like what it is that you do. Respectfully though, it's taken something for you to be in the position you're in right now to get on stage and literally just speak into a microphone. I think that's quite admirable, and there's something within that which could be very useful to people listening in. So my question is, where does that confidence come from?
Initially, I was going to say the very typical and very generic, you only have one life, so just do it. And for me, it's very much like, right, let's just try it once. If it doesn't work, fine, I've tried it. I'd rather fail knowing that I've tried. But then when you compare it to relationships or other like family issues and things, it's a very tricky one, because I don't know where I find my own confidence from, to be honest. Sometimes I'm like, I don't know where this is just kind of, maybe it's a whole Beyonce Sasha Fierce thing. Like I just fake it on stage and I dial it up.
Really? ...
I don't know. Now I'm questioning myself now too. I'm not really sure.
I don't know. I think there's more to it.
I think it's just something that I've always, maybe how I've been brought up is very much just try it and just see what happens. And so it's difficult for me to articulate how I could create that confidence or support someone to have that confidence in themselves. Because I think it's sometimes you just have to ask yourself, what are your doubts? Like, why do you feel it's not going to work? And I think for me, particularly where a lot of my anxiety came from, was constantly thinking the worst. I'm like, oh, well, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. And I've had to unlearn that habit of stop thinking the negatives, just do it and then worry about the consequences afterwards.
Damn. That's good.
Okay.
That's good. For fuck's sake.
I don't know.
The amount of edits that are going to be in this podcast,
There's
honestly.
a lot. Sorry.
That was good. That's good. I like that. I like how you've worded it.
Thanks. I can't remember what I said. So.
God, whatever you're drinking, honestly.
I'll tell you, it's dementia.
Oh, dear. What messages are you trying to deliver to your audience?
When you told me this question, I struggled to come up with an answer.
Yeah.
Because I don't know whether I have a message per se.
All right, let me reword it then.
Yeah.
If people could take away one thing from your content,
Yeah.
either on stage or whatever it is you're doing on TikTok, on Instagram, what would it be?
Life is not that deep.
Jeez.
Like, I don't care about being cringe.
Yeah.
Particularly now, because I'm still early in my posting online and also in my comedy journey. And I don't care if people are going to come at me and say, actually, you're not that funny. I don't care because I'm doing something that I enjoy.
You were very similar like that.
And say that again?
We're very similar like that.
Yeah.
I don't care what people are going to say.
I've learned more than ever now that, and it sounds so deep and horrible, and I don't mean it in this way, but I have learned since doing comedy that strangers will support you so much more than friends and family will. And I heard about that before, but I've never resonated more with that until now.
We know your family are supportive, but generally we're talking about the
like the wider people, yeah.
Does that like get under your skin? Does that bother you that you're not being as supported from people you thought that were quite close to home?
I don't know if it bothers me per se. I think it's more like just be open and honest. Like I'm not asking everyone to come to all of my gigs. I don't want to put that pressure and feel like make everyone feel obliged to be there.
Yeah.
But it's also, if you want to support me, come to my gigs.
Yeah. And when
if you don't, that's fine. And we don't need to talk about my comedy. I think it's such a tricky one because some people want to show their support maybe in something that they're not interested in. And so you can't pressurize them to show their support if they just really don't care about comedy.
That's interesting.
It's the same as maybe like some of my friends are going into... so again, as I'm starting my comedy journey, they're starting their beauty influencer journey.
Yeah.
I don't really care for makeup, but I will be there and support them.
Yeah.
But when they say, oh, I got this, I'm going to this PR event and that, I'm like, that's great. And I'm here to support you, but also I don't know what that means. So it's difficult because my support maybe isn't what they need as well. And so I appreciate the same way that people are showing support for me is maybe not how I would want that support.
I like how you worded that because I ran into a situation before where I've felt some people don't support, and I suppose it's probably stuff that they can't do from a distance. They can like watch and like, and I suppose that, but if it doesn't resonate with them, I totally get it. Like it's not there to resonate with you; it's meant to resonate with the wider audience. So I hear that because there are people I have possibly not supported, and not shown love towards, and it's generally I love your craft. I love exactly what you're doing, but just because I don't double tap doesn't mean that I'm not supporting. It's more of a case of just don't resonate with it, unfortunately.
What do you do? A question for you now is when people come up to you and say, oh, I really support you and I think you're doing great with your podcast and your business and everything, but they don't engage, but they're always telling you to your face, hey, we really support you. Okay.
It's after hearing what you've just said right now, I think I've taken a different look at it. Because it does sometimes make me think, bro, what are you talking about? Like, don't tell me it's amazing. Oh, you saw that and it looked great. And I've not seen any notification to say otherwise. I've not seen any other forms of engagement. But what it does tell me is that like sometimes we can get lost in those numbers.
Yeah.
And we can pay too much attention on who's really showing love from what we see on an analytical perspective. But we don't look at, let's say, the views or go further into it. And I also know, like, and you'll know this, being on TikTok as an example, it's content now is very much like you just scroll and move on, right? I'm not double tapping every single thing that I like. I might still like enjoy the content. I might tap once, and that's why it keeps popping up. But I don't necessarily. It's meant to be just swipe through, right? So I can appreciate that if someone's trying to say they're showing love and they're not actually doing it. Fine. I suppose it doesn't mean that much now. Now thinking about it, how you've said it, because it did used to bother me. It used to be like, what are you talking about? You don't show love. They're like, no, I watched it. I watched that episode. I heard what you said there. It was actually interesting. I was like, oh, fair.
Yeah.
It'd be nice if you engaged a bit more, but I suppose you can't really ask that question to someone who's probably living their own life and possibly watched it in passing.
Yeah.
Or they just listen to your podcast on the tube and they just listen to it on the audio because they haven't got time to watch it on YouTube, whatever. Like,
watch the video. Thanks.
Watch the video. All right, so you're a different person when it comes to outside of comedy.
Yeah.
All right, who's sitting here right now? Is it comedy version of you or normal version?
Probably a mixture.
Okay, so we've got both in the room today.
There's two personalities here.
Perfect. Because you call her, right?
Yeah.
You give her
I do. It's a whole Beyonce Sasha Fierce thing. Like Avvz Kaur is someone who dials up that part of her, who is very like unfiltered. She doesn't really think I'm saying again now. Whereas me, I'm gonna gatekeep my full name. Whereas or normal me, at home me, is very different. She's very strategic. She's very detail orientated. It's like the corporate. She's more analytical, blah, blah, blah. She's a bit more filtered with what she says. She's actually an introvert too, versus the comedian in me who is just like,
Is it not a thing where you'd like to like try and link the two?
I think I've always had it in me. I just have maybe continued my day-to-day with it being at 10%, whereas when I'm on stage, I will then make it 100%. And it's kind of like your corporate, like, so when you're at a work environment, I said this is like, it's not really an analogy, but you know, the 6'5" finance guy, when he's in the office, he's probably very prim and proper. But then when he's in the pub, he's probably down in pints and everything with his mates. It's very much like that.
So this is what I was going to say, right? Like, are you embarrassed by the comedian in you?
No.
So why
I
can't...
said that a bit quickly.
You said that very quickly. It's good. No, I like it. So why can't the comedian be there in the office as well with that same energy?
Because she would get tired all the time, probably. It's hard to maintain that level of energy all the time because I don't have coffee and stuff. I just drink pre-workout all the time. Drink it, snort it, do it all. I'm joking. Mum, Dad, I don't do that. Oh my God. Sometimes, no joking. I think also when you're trying to do it in a corporate environment, it's very different. Like, particularly when I do some of my corporate speaking events, the way that I articulate myself is very different. I speak very differently. And I've been told when I'm on stage, I sound like I have a different accent that comes out. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know that. Like, I'm from South London. So I switched to being a bit more Cockney and stuff. I don't see it working in corporate. I think I've tried it in corporate, and then I think
didn't land well.
It's difficult to... Maybe because my corporate goals are very different to my out of corporate goals, like my comedy goals, in the sense that if I want to climb up the corporate ladder, yes, you can make jokes and everything, but for me, it didn't resonate. I knew what corporate me is very serious. She was very, right, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. And I think also it comes with being, and I don't like this because I don't think I don't want to use it as an excuse, but I think also being a person of color in the corporate environment, you have to play your cards very differently.
I get it. And this is something I try and change, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to really like force people just being their ultimate self, their unfiltered self in all environments, because is there anything wrong with her right now? Is there anything wrong with Avvz Kaur when she's on stage? No. Bundle of energy. Before she gets on stage, she's probably like just going through it all. That's normal. You have a side of you which is normal when you're on stage. Yeah. You like to distinguish between the two. I don't think there's anything wrong with who you are on stage versus and bringing that energy to work.
Yeah.
You've just got it imprinted in here that it's not seen as professional. People aren't going to take you seriously. Well, truth be told, do you really want to be working in environments where people don't take you for who you are? If you're constantly having to put up this filter to be someone else, I just don't think that's healthy.
That's a very good challenge. I also would challenge you back and say I think it's different for a man versus a woman.
I appreciate that. I do
agree with you. I think there are certain things that to be fair, I'm also relating it back to a corporate environment which was very toxic, and I left on discrimination and on racial terms. So maybe even going back to the whole like she is this, she is that, I think it's just how I have kind of approached the situation, but also some of my closest friends say you're the same person. There is no difference.
That's fair.
But I think it's like when you're with your cousin who you're like super close with versus the other cousin you don't like, there are certain, like, you're maybe not as open or a bit more reserved around certain people.
Like how I'm dressed right now would be how I'd possibly go into work, just maybe not with this t-shirt, and I'd have a jumper on instead.
Oh, I've never had a corporate
but
work like that.
But from being in a place where it felt like you only had to wear like shirt and trousers and shoes.
Yeah.
And like if someone said anything, it was just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I remember like when I first went into my last role that I was in, I didn't have my nose piercing prior to the interview, and then came in with my nose piercing, and like I knew I had people just looking at my nose.
Yeah.
And it's like, and like, this isn't going to change the way I do a fucking Excel report right now. Relax yourself kind of thing. Do you get what I mean? Like, it's not going to change anything. But respectfully, it's like people feel like they can't be themselves. And then eventually over time, it's like, no, I'm the same person. I've got a great personality while I work. I've got a great personality outside of work. And I always try and make sure that you're seeing Pre 24/7 versus me having to have something like up my arse saying, speaking like that versus no. I'd walk into, like, say, the CFO's office, like, you're right, okay, cool, sweet, like this. If he looked at me differently, weirdly, I'd be like, yeah, no, you're still going to get the same report regardless to how I dress right now. So, and I feel like that's something that we need to try and change more of versus still being stuck in a certain light, if you want to call it that. You have to dress a certain way in corporate. Like, no.
That's interesting because I've always been very, very strict with myself about having a work-life balance. So, like, for me, as soon as it's 5 o'clock, my laptop is closed, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
And I know that some of my friends don't feel the same way, like colleagues who are now friends and stuff. So it's, again, how I think maybe I'm just a hypocrite because I say to them, actually, it's not that bad. Like, you know, be a bit more relaxed and just, you know, close that laptop, have a bit more boundaries for yourself and blend in who you are outside of work to work. But I think it's more because I have noticed, and maybe it's just I have worked at incredibly toxic places. Yeah. So maybe that's why I have had to adapt in order to be taken seriously in the work environment versus just being my casual self. She doesn't, when I am like that, she doesn't get taken as seriously as other people do. So I have to dial it up and say, right now I'm this, that, the other. And then people start listening. But that's then something that I need to work on my boundaries with colleagues and everything else. Now I don't do it. I don't do corporate anymore. This is why I start my own business. I don't like people.
Oh, God.
I like my clients, though. You guys are great.
So what is it you're doing outside of comedy?
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Media leisure. I own a boat company.
Fine.
No, I don't. I am trying to figure out what my businesses are at the moment. Initially, I had one business. It's turning into 2, 3. But essentially, my background is in marketing. Fine. And it's in business coaching and strategy.
Coaching?
Yes.
We won't get into that. In regards to, like, say, comedy, I wrote this down and I put it in, like, speech prompts when we originally had that first convo around how comedy gives you the ick.
Yeah.
Let's explore that a little bit more.
I don't think ick is now the right word. Fine. Maybe from that conversation.
So that's just ruined that whole TikTok video right now. That hook there about comedy giving you the ick. Fine.
No. Comedy me gives me the ick.
Okay.
I used to think the stuff that I post on TikTok is incredibly cringy. It's very icky.
It's hilarious.
I'm very aware. But I also think the narrative I use to describe my TikTok videos is the narrative that my friends and family use. Strangers, which is obviously how you came across my stuff. Yeah. Oh, this is going back to the whole strangers thing are so supportive. Some of the stuff that I create, I was not expecting it to have resonated or to have got the response that it did. Whereas my friends and family who see the exact same video, because they see what at home life is like, they're like, why are you like that in your videos? Why are you so weird? And I'm like, yeah, you're judging it off a 30-second video, which strangers appreciate those 30 seconds because they're just judging off the video. But your friends and family are judging off the video and what they know of you. It's so different. And so I think that's where the ick has come from, because that is the narrative that my friends have used. So through association,
you're cringe for doing certain things.
Yeah. But I don't see it like that. For me, I'm honestly just trying to figure out what my niche is. Yeah. What is it that will excite me and keep me consistent with posting online?
So I used to have that initially. When people used to see some of my content, they'd be like, shut the fuck up, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
What's this motivational bullshit you're throwing at me right now kind of thing? What's just looking at the bigger picture shit? And I'm like, nah, bro, like, if you take a second to like deep it a little bit more. And over time, I feel like people are understanding it from a deeper perspective. And as I've been able to get more vulnerable, either on like this platform or generally just posting videos, they've seen a different side where it's like, oh shit, that's kind of like pre-normally, but I've just possibly been taking the piss for too long to just like not really like take it on board. Yeah, so it's interesting you say that.
Out of you until you've made it.
And I
think when you do, it's different when you were to do like a gym video, or if you want to say, okay, I want to be a gym influencer or a beauty influencer, because those are more normal categories per se than doing more motivational stuff or doing comedy or whatever.
Yeah.
Those seem to be more accepted. But then again, everyone will say you're cringy until you've made it.
It's like whenever I like look at, like, say, someone like my close family members. I remember my sister first said, how can you be this motivational? You're not that kind of person at home. I'm like, no, you don't get it. And then she heard a podcast and she was like, oh shit, no, that hit home. I kind of understand how you're connecting with people. And then like, it's like my parents and stuff, they'll be like, oh yeah, before you used to do like some sort of like coaching thing, helping people. And now it's like, because they see some of the stuff and it resonates so like deeply with them, and they see like me getting vulnerable and open, talking about childhood and stuff, it's like, he's kind of helping women around their self-doubt and insecurities, and he's able to like hold space and really listen. So that's why it works so well.
Yeah.
It does take time. It does take time for people to like slowly get it. But even then, like now, I still get people just like mock it and take the piss. But
you asked me about my supportive parents. What were your parents like?
They're cool. They're cool. My parents are blessed. I think initially my dad was a bit like, can you make money from this? Are you sure you're all right? And then after a while, it was more of a case of, I had to drum it down. I was like, yo, if you don't give me a chance to do this right now, I'm most likely going to just play it safe, do finance, and just do this on the side.
Yeah.
And it could probably never be what I want it to be. So let me step into this. And then I kind of like played the like Uno reverse on him. And I was like, Dad, you're self-employed now. What did it feel like when you first started? He was shit scared. And I was like, exactly. But you made something work out of nothing. And now look at you, the lifestyle you live right now. Fucking 11 holidays last year, mate. He's flipping living his best life. 8 or 9 of them were golf related. Like, he's just having fun. And I'm like, if I ever want to be able to do something like that, you've got to let me explore this right now. It's going to be difficult. It's going to be tough. As long as you give me enough support, I can run it. If you don't, totally fine. I'll figure out another way. But just trust me. Let me just have fun with this. And it's kind of like, you kind of throw it back to them. And you ask them, why did you tell me to go and do what it is I wanted to do? Despite the fact you kind of like may inadvertently push me down maths and going down finance because it's safe. Respectfully, you always said, as long as you're happy doing what you're doing, just do it. And now I'm finding something I'm really happy about. Let me run it. Mm-hmm. So don't go back on your words. And they're all supportive. They see the passion, they see the energy.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
Nice.
Do you cringe at your own jokes when you watch them back?
I actually have started, so since doing comedy, I look at comedy differently now. So I see, formula is the wrong word, but I'm like, oh, I should have tweaked this. Or even with other comedians, I'm looking at how they present themselves versus the material itself. Yeah. So I don't so much cringe, I'm more analysing, okay, I should have done this differently or tweaked it.
There's always room for improvement.
Yeah.
And how you can get different reactions. But nah, I like that. Because I would, if you did say you cringe at your own jokes, I'd be like, don't. Just look at it from like an audience perspective. If it's landing and it's hitting home. Like when I watch some of my content back, I'm thinking, yo, yeah, that's going to slap. That's going to hit home. People are going to resonate with that. And it does. You'll get a DM from a lady saying, yo, I'm going through this right now. Thank you for posting that. It's so great to see a guy like you posting stuff like this. And it's like, well, the intention is not for me just to be that guy, but if it helps and it adds value, sick. And you're obviously making people laugh.
Yeah. What I keep saying to myself is, in the moment, if it feels right, just do it. Because like my Indian auntie or mum TikTok stuff that I post, in the moment, I was like, let me try something, let's see if it works. That was maybe like 2 months ago. Now I'm like, I don't think that resonates with me anymore. And I've tried to consider doing like obviously sketches and stuff with it, but it doesn't work. But in the moment, that got me loads and loads of followers from just those couple videos.
Yeah.
It's cringy. Now I look at it and I'm like, what? But it worked. I back it. That in that moment, that's what I thought was right. And I appreciate that I did that. Because again, I believe in the domino effect. That one thing got me to where I am now.
What do you think your funniest video is? You know what mine is.
What's your favourite one?
Suspect.
The suspect one. Oh
that is too hilarious.
I can't believe that one.
You were just running around the house. I just didn't understand what was going on.
That video took me, like, literally, it was the first take. I took it and I sent it to one of my friends or in the group chat or something. And they're like, this is so funny. And I was going to recreate it because I didn't have any makeup on.
Yeah.
I was literally in a hoodie. My room was a mess. I was like, this is just not correct. And I was like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Okay, I was not expecting that.
It was because you were out of breath.
But...
And I just understand, I had to watch it back a bit. I was like, what? It's so funny. It's just like berating yourself, but it was hilarious. But go on, what's your funniest video?
What my favourite or funniest one is. That's a very, very hard question.
What's been the most enjoyable thing that you've done then?
The cake one that I did, my Nara Smith parody. That was my favourite one.
This is going to sound a little bit... I'll relate it back to me if you want to, but I'm going to throw it back at you. In the like romantic dating scene, I don't know your situation, do you feel like being a comedian like plays a part? Like, does it play like a limiting part in that? Does it stop you getting to know people, or is your partner on board? I don't even know if you've got a partner or not.
I'm engaged.
Okay, it's fine.
I have a husband and a boyfriend.
Can't take this girl seriously, honestly. This isn't going to make for good content, honestly.
Okay. So I will go back to your other question and say it's difficult because when you're early in your journey, again, it's like trying to get people on board with what you want to do is always difficult because you're in the cringy stage now. But also, I think if someone, and this is more to everyone, if they can support you in that journey of finding yourself, then cool. But it is difficult sometimes, not necessarily just in romantic relationships, but also in platonic relationships too, because people have to be on board with the delusion.
Yeah.
And if anything, actually, comedy has made me meet so many other people who are delusional too. I think I didn't realize how many people see themselves going on to like Live at the Apollo and blah, blah, blah in like this amount of time. And I love that because I think a lot of my other friends have not had those very weird and wonderful goals that this community has introduced me to.
The reason why I asked that is because I feel like people who are doing their own thing outside of their 9 to 5 and possibly want to pursue that long term have this fear in regards of being judged for being that person, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a PT, whether you're trying to just become your own business person in owning nurseries, or you have something creative you really want to do. It's not standard, it's not normal. Having someone understand that and be on board in regards to this journey that you want to go on can be quite detrimental in regards to whether or not you actually pursue it or not. And I feel like within, like, say, the dating romantic space, there are some people I've spoken to who are in relationships who generally feel they can't really pursue something full time right now just because of how it's going to be looked and how it's going to be perceived. Mm-hmm. And it's quite like, it's a bit toxic. Well, it's not a bit toxic, it's very toxic in the space where like you kind of can't be you to then fulfill something else. And like, you're a comedian. I don't know what that's like. Obviously, you have dark humor. So if someone doesn't find that funny, or someone's generally like, you're triggering me right now in regards to what you're saying, can they truly be on board or not? And
it's honestly something that I go back and forth with, not just in a romantic sense, but with platonically with my family as well.
Yeah.
Because, in fact, when I first did my first ever comedy gig and my parents were in the audience, I literally got my camera out, recorded them. I was like, do you mind if I swear? Like, are you going to tell me off? Like, is that okay? Like, what are the boundaries here? Because I don't swear at home. I don't swear generally. But when I'm in comedy, some of the language I use is wild. So I have to make sure that people understand, look, I'm just using it in a situation. It doesn't mean that I stand by it. A lot of my TikTok stuff, like I don't want to ruin it for you, but the suspect video stuff, a lot of that stuff is not even true. But I've just said it because I know that it will get a response and it will get people talking. So sometimes you have to just communicate to people, look, this is what I want to do, in the same way that I did with my parents as well. I think that's why they're so supportive of me, is because I've talked them through and said, look, I'm going to try it for 6 months. If it doesn't work, fine. You're either going to support me or not, but I'm going to do it. And I'm not doing it for anyone else. I'm doing it for myself. And I think in a romantic situation, if your partner can't support you and they don't see eye to eye, give them all the information to help them and feel reassured with what you want to do. But equally know that you're doing it for yourself. Yeah. Because it's the whole, like, you don't really need someone now in 2025. If you want to have your own family, you can do that. You don't necessarily need a partner. But if you do, don't feel like, oh, they're not the one because they don't support me. Maybe it's just because they don't resonate with comedy. Maybe they just don't like comedy, but they like everything about you. Yeah. I've had to differentiate the two significantly because of the feedback I've got from my friends and family.
See, I find that interesting because it's like people say to me, like in, let's say, the dating capacity or even like personal relationships as well, don't try and coach me. And I'm like, I'm not trying to coach you. I'm just a good listener. You just said this right now. Why are you chatting shit for? Yeah. Why are you going back on yourself? Like, are you looking at it from this perspective? And I can't stop that at times. And it's like, don't judge me for then, if I then end up doing something completely like out of the ordinary, it's like, we're meant to be a coach. What's that all about? And it's like, well, you're combining me and then basically saying that I can't be two different people. It's a bit of a myth.
Maybe a light bulb moment for me now is why I say her, because when I look at me, I'm a 360 person who's like, I've got my businesses, I've got comedy, I do gym, I do all these other things that people don't see, that I don't post online. But the bits that I do see, that seems to be attacked, and not attacked, but obviously that's what people are looking at. That's what people will judge you on. So for me, it's like, yeah, you can judge me all you want, but I also know I've got all this stuff behind the scenes, and I'm so content with you saying what you want about that.
Fair. I respect that.
Thanks.
Because you mentioned you've got supportive parents.
Yes.
And love mum and dad for that. Respect. Would you say to someone right now who wants to do exactly what you're doing but doesn't have that support? Let's just say similar background to you, but just generally doesn't have that support. It's going to look down upon. They're probably doing it on the sly, or feel like they can't even step into that space. They're constantly lying about what it is that they're doing. They have a fake name on stage. Like, well, as in, like, generally, what'd you say to someone?
I was going to say just lie. Just do it anyway. Don't tell them. Just do it. I stand by that. But I know that's not really the responsible answer. I say lie and just do it because you need to know if this is how strong of an opinion they have, then you need to go out there and do it to justify why you want to do it, to show that you are actually good enough, to almost have the evidence and proof that, look, I can do it so much. Now I'm going to use that to help articulate myself and communicate to you why I want you to change your opinion. But also don't lie and hide things. And so I think it goes back to what you were saying, is having that communication and that open narrative of, look, I just want to try something. Let me give you what you need to hear in order to feel comfortable about what I want to try and do. Particularly with comedy being quite an unusual thing. When I explained to my parents, this is what I want to do, they were like, yeah, cool, let's do it. Like, we're all here for it. And if anything, I was a bit like, why are you so supportive? Like, what is going on here? I thought there was like a catch or something, because they generally were like, right, we're there. Do you want us there? We're going to be there. But I think it's also, for me, I have got all of the evidence beforehand to show that anything I do with 100%, it works. And so I think having that experience or having that evidence to show to my parents, look, I'm going to try it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And just communicating it the same way to them. It's difficult also because I think some people are so quick to say, oh, my parents are not supportive. Oh, it's such a toxic and they've given me so much childhood trauma, blah, blah, blah. They're also doing their best that they can. And also their generation is now trying to learn from, for example, if they're in the UK, trying to learn the UK way of raising children. So it's difficult to get them on board to a concept that they didn't know of. Like, for example, my grandparents didn't really know, or still don't know, what TikTok is and Instagram. So when I said to my grandma, here, look, I did a video with my, my chunni and the glasses on trying to do this Indian mum thing. She was like, firstly, what is this video? Like, she didn't understand. She didn't get it. But if you just talk them through and explain, I think I'm waffling now, but just be open and honest and say, look, I want to try it. If you're going to support me, you're going to support me. If not, then what do you need in order for me to then do it?
What if you then get a response where I'm never going to support you? That's embarrassing. You can't do that.
Yeah.
What'd you do then?
That is a tricky one. I'm fortunate to have not been in that position, but I know some friends who have had that happen to them, and and I don't know. I stumble because right? I don't know what you would do. My gut is saying, and my gut is saying this because when people look at my parents and they're like, oh, they're so supportive of you. Wow. I'm like, yeah, they're supporting me now. But do you know how many arguments we've had to get to where we are? Do you know how many of me saying, I'm going to run away and I'm going to fight you and blah, blah, blah. We've had a lot to get to where we are now. So I think just because you're looking at the outskirts of, okay, her parents are so supportive, we haven't always been like that. And maybe everyone else who's struggling, they're just, it sounds bad, but maybe you're just two more arguments until they become supportive.
Fair. No,
you don't know.
That's fair. No, I think that's very, very empowering. That's how if someone booked in a call to speak to me about this, I'd probably say the exact same thing. I'd reword it and say, how important is it for you? All right, fine.
Yeah.
Do you really want their support? 100%. First, let's figure out why you need their support. What's really critical around that, and then let's try and word it in a way where they can begin to understand. Because the reality of it is they probably won't agree with what it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
But if we can get them to accept and start to understand, fine. As long as we can build enough confidence within you to still just pursue it, we're winning either way, right? But nah, I respect that.
It's like if I said to my great-grandparents, oh yeah, I want to raise my children with gentle parenting, they'll like laugh in my face because they don't understand the concept. But you have to acknowledge that they're going off different information that's likely from back in India, not from what we're now learning with all these different cultures coming in.
100%. There's no right or wrong way of living, but obviously there is this big challenge with trying to please our parents. I've spoken about it enough times, but we do things in a certain way to make them proud, and the reality of doing that, we then possibly miss out on the things we'd really love to explore and do.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, everyone's situation is different. But I'm a big believer that no parent wants to see you down, upset, depressed. It's just a case of trying to articulate in a way where they can begin to understand.
Yep.
But yeah, no, interesting. Right, so where can everyone find you if they want to get in touch?
On Instagram. On my Instagram is Avvz Avvz, and on TikTok is Avvz Kaur, Avvz Kaur. Forgot how to spell for a second.
There. But have you got anything lined up for 2025 that people can keep an eye open for?
I'm working on some new material. I'm hoping to do a bit more of a longer stage time.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, if things work out, I will be back in Edinburgh again to do Edinburgh French.
And when you do the Apollo,
Yes.
Can you make a commitment to come back on the pod?
Oh my God.
Talk us about the story to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah?
And if I don't do Live at the Apollo, I'll come back and talk about my failures. Here is why I didn't make it to Live at the Apollo.
Oh dear. Nah, this has been good. Thank you for coming through.
Thank you for inviting me.
All good. Thank you a lot for listening to another episode of the Unfiltered Podcast. If you've liked what you listened to today, drop us a like. If you've got any comments in regards to what we spoke about, if there's something you disagreed with, or there's stuff that you did agree with, drop us a comment. And lastly, if you haven't subscribed yet, give us a subscribe. Whether you listen to this on Spotify, Apple, or if you're watching this on YouTube, every subscribe goes a long way. And look, why wouldn't you subscribe? If you like the unfiltered nature of the podcast, surely you want to be in tune to whenever the next episode is coming out, right? Anywho, I'll catch you in the next episode of the Unfiltered Podcast. It's been your boy Pri, and I'm signing out. Peace.